get over that kind of thing. And yeah, I guess we'll go from there. Just let them know what we are and why we're here. Why should you care? Well, yeah. Hey, my name's Phil Healy, and
I am Sean Cameron.
Oh my God, sexy. And you can't see us; you can only hear it. And we're here to talk. We're just a bunch of regular schmellies,
whatever,
schmucklies.
Some sort of SCH.
Yeah, Yiddish, vaguely Yiddish sounding insult, or like
this is the full first Yiddish podcast.
Mm-hmm. Fully. Yeah, so I mean, this is a podcast because we're about 10 years behind the curve. That we just started doing. Once again, my name is Phil Healy, and I am a multimedia guy. I've been involved with a bunch of freelance stuff around the Boston area. And
that is a dog.
The barking you hear is my egregious and sometimes virulent puppy.
Oh God, here we go.
And there are two of them. So this will be a podcast. Will be sprinkled with.
Yes, there will be dog banter throughout this podcast.
Yeah, well, they'll have their voice heard. As very few canine rebuttals on various other podcasts. But yeah, John, if you'd like to let the audience know who you are and why we should give a shit.
No, you really shouldn't give a shit. I'm just some asshole. But I guess that's kind of the thing we're trying to do here. I don't know. We know a lot of smart people. We're kind of smart people.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, it all depends. It's subjective, but
it is very subjective. I know a lot of people would like to say otherwise. But
like teachers and aptitude tests.
Anything that has
employers
facts attached to it kind of proves otherwise. But just kind of throw some spite and I don't know, not just spite, but I'll throw some positives out there. I mean, I'll do my best.
Yeah, which is always good enough, right?
Yeah.
No,
it isn't.
And it shouldn't be. Listen, all kids out there, your best is never good enough. Give 150%. That means tear apart of yourself or find yourself on the astral plane and let that half of that, not just all of it. So that's the tricky part. You have to lure it in and then just use half of that astral plane self.
Beware of Thanos.
Dedicate.
He's out there.
Yeah, with the infinity gems.
Wants your blood.
Yeah. Not good. Yeah, I've wondered the taste of human blood, but that's haven't we all?
Well,
no.
No. That's something we can talk
You're
about
alone
later,
there, sicko. Yeah, we also let's get into, I guess.
Phil, what do you do? What do you do for a living?
What I do, well, like I said, at the top of the hour, and it's 18 o'clock, and it is a multimedia guy. I work for my local town.
I think you're selling yourself short. You do movies.
I do video films, yes.
I mean, let's not sell yourself short here.
No, that's all right. Well, I guess, yeah, I do a lot of stuff around the Boston area. A lot of buddies around the Boston area. We do a lot of stuff. We have, actually, one of the things we'll be like a bunch of podcasts who you don't, unless you're friends of ours, or like we're plugging your like regional band you don't want to listen to. So we'll be we'll be plugging a bunch of our friends and other stuff that we enjoy. Because like what else? I mean, what can you do in a podcast? What is there something?
Rad.
You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like our circle's pretty rad. We got a good group of people we hang with. I mean, there's a lot of talented fucks we hang out with.
No, yeah, sure. Whoa, easy. It's all right.
This is open forum. That means you will hear a myriad of bad language from me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Bad language. You just have your aura. It's just you can't feel it in radio land, but or podcast land. But no, yeah, it's we'll have a bunch of people on and just kind of. But what can you? It's weird. Like we do this because we want to do it, and it's kind of like. It goes in that kind of region of hobby, which is dangerous for us in our profession because people will make that argument for taking pictures, and trying to make movies, or trying to deal with graphic design, as John does with AsylumStudios.net.
Oh, plug.
No?
That'd be AsylumStudios.biz, B-I-Z.
Oh, .bit. What? What? No, sir. What is that? Is it just like another?
To be honest with you,
is it low rent domain?
.com, and someone else has it. It's some guy. I don't know what he does. He does something, but it's not all that great. But
wow, what a first slam of the day.
I'm good. I'm gonna say that. No, I don't know. It's just Biz was really the only thing available, so I took it.
Well, what is it? Just kind of like a. It's like a low rent .biz, and you don't hear that a lot.
No, there's way more whatevers you'd think than
it's true.
I ever knew existed. But
it just will never take off. But yeah, Sour Patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be plugging a bunch of that stuff. I guess the whole point of that is like, what can we do? Like, how different is this from anything else? And I guess the answer clearly and irrefutably, it's nothing.
No, not at all. There's nothing we're doing that hasn't been done 1,000 times before, and probably better.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But this is our first podcast, so give us a fucking break. I mean, come on. We're talking into a sock-covered microphone here.
Yeah, and we've debated calling it. We don't have a name either, so that's, plus one for us.
I'm leaning towards Podcast X minus the monkey molestation and torture.
Yeah.
But not much.
Are you thinking the Matthew Broderick project?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about that new shitty party movie that's coming out. Did you
Project
see that yet?
X?
There's a movie coming out called Project X. I thought it was a remake.
Oh, yeah, it's like a found. No, is it not found footage or what's it?
It's like a found footage party movie.
A found footage party movie.
I swear to God, you can't make it up. And like, I can't remember who's directing it, but it's somebody you're supposed to give a shit about. Like, he made The Hangover, or fucking something like that. But
wow.
It looks awful.
I wish the trailer announcer guy would be that. Like,
he's dead, isn't he?
Oh no, he's still. Oh wait, yeah, one of the guys did die.
Yeah,
one of the majors.
Yeah, the voice.
Yes, I forget the guy's name. Someone in one of my film school friends. Obviously, film school guy, because I waste my life on doing extemporaneous film activity.
Hey, let's not talk. No, you don't. My name is JonahFilm.com, people. It's the future.
Yeah, I was just back when we were first talking about plugs. That's the one thing we can get to. Like, my name is Jonah.com.
My name is JonahFilm.com.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Well, go to my name is Jonah. That was another thing with that, because my name is Jonah.com was already taken.
Yeah, it was nothing either.
It wasn't. It was weird. And our editor at the time and our media manager guy, Colby Peterson, who will be a future guest on the show.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, he is a lunatic. And he will...
He's very lovable, though.
He's lovable, and he's emotionally dependent on... I want to say fire ants, but I don't think... Well... I feel bad for fire ants on that one.
Yeah.
He's so uneasy.
He's a heated kid. It'll be good to be. None of us... I'm pretty sure none of us see eye to eye either, so that's going to be
no one does.
But
I also think that's a misnomer, because, I think... if you do, then you'd be making out. That's the whole thing with seeing eye to eye. But
it's not that kind of podcast. That's too sexy.
Well, we're going to try a kind of... what's that Gaspar Van Noel movie? A film kid. Throwing in the reference, Gaspar Van Noel, he did The Void last year. I'd recommend seeing it in a theater if you don't easily have seizures. And they don't really warn you about it with the credit sequence. But it's a movie, I think it's on Netflix, and check it wherever you can, but see it in the theater because that's what it's meant for. But we're going to try something from that. We're going to do very penis POV podcasts. So we'll see. And it doesn't have to be vaginal insertion. It's just it's in someone's pants and just hanging out.
It's something.
Yeah.
As long as you put it in something.
Yeah.
And the door to the fridge or whatever.
It's going to sound like just a sloth. Just like that. The whole podcast would be just that. Or just I'm going to put a microphone in my pants for the whole day and just walk around. But I get the basic, we're not doing anything new. This is just something we just want to talk and be kind of chummy and have people we know on and are accessible within cart or driving distance, or we could go somewhere and do it too. We have the technology.
We do, and we occasionally will throw something smart your way. We will get into some smart stuff every now and then. We do like to philosophize and ramble on we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, some pseudo-intellectual babble that'll just come your way and pseudo anything really.
Because I'll be the first one to admit that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. No one really does, I think.
Yeah, sure. I think... To
an extent you do, but...
Yeah, as much as you can.
Lots of conjecture.
A lot of conjecture, and that's the podcast way. Or radio way. But yeah, I'm trying to... One thing that'll be pretty good for everyone, /bad, once again with subjective terms here, or subjective way of life, I will never be on track for anything.
No, I think it's my job to kind of steer you in the direction of... tangible conversation.
Yeah, more tangential Sherpa, which is the worst Sherpa, because they'll just be, no, I want to go up the mountain. Oh, the funny thing about mountains, and then just it'll take you on some sort of plateau, or just kind of that's some sort of bed and breakfast that he set up or something. And his pal Wallbang made. And
speaking of wall anything, let's talk about Wahlburgers.
Wahlburg?
Yes.
What?
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Oh my god.
Oh wait.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right,
Brian,
go ahead. Maybe
our buddy Brian Collins, who happens to be a film historian, by the way.
Yes, actually, plug that guy while we have a chance.
BloodyDisgusting.com.
BloodyDisgusting.com. Horror Movie a Day.
Yep. Horror Movie a Day.
Brian Collins.
What is it?
Horror Movie a Day.
Blogspot.com, I want to say.
Maybe, but just
Don't
Google
quote me on that. Just
or
Google
Yahoo.
Horror Movie a Day.
If you're into that. Horror Movie a Day.
He also writes for Badass Digest, which is one of my favorite movie review sites.
I actually don't read it a lot.
I do. I like the guy.
I see his stuff.
He's cool because he's got kind of like a surly disposition, but at the same time, it kind of holds him back. I think a little bit because some of the stuff he'll like, and he'll just kind of bash. Yeah. But whatever.
Is that he just? All right, go ahead.
Yeah. What the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, Wahlburgers.
No, just Wahlburgers.
So our buddy Brian lives out in L.A. Came down last week, I think it was.
Is that like Wahlberg?
It's Mark Wahlberg and Donnie Wahlberg and their lesser-known brother Jeb or whatever the hell his name is.
Jeb Bush and Jeb Wahlberg. Just hanging out.
But they own a burger joint down in the middle of fucking nowhere, Mass. And my buddy Jeff and I went down there to check it out because Brian was down, wanted to have dinner. We all went down to this place, Wahlburgers, and you go in there and it was it's weird. It's just this weird greenishly designed.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the burger.
And you can't even sit. You can't sit down until you order something.
Oh.
So you just kind of hang out.
Do they force it to do they do the Wahlberg? Hey, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Hey,
say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah.
But it was weird because you finally go up and you get your food. I paid $5 for a small shake. All right.
Was it good?
No.
It had the Wahlberg seal of approval, though.
Yeah, well, apparently it doesn't. I saw the happening, so that I don't know how solid that is.
Yeah.
But
which he apologizes for, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he should. It's so bad.
Yeah. It sounds like an awesome concept, though.
Have you seen it?
No, but I know the basic underlining.
I went to see it with a couple of buddies.
It's like Swamp Thing, Floronic Man, like the plants attack.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Except, Swamp Thing, as shitty as Swamp Thing is, I would rather watch Swamp Thing 20 times in a row than watch it happen again.
More the comic than the movie. It was Alan Moore's, and we'll get. I mean, obviously, you can tell we're fairly nerdy. All right. We'll get into what is nerd.
Dude, you don't even have to explain. If you can't follow along with this isn't for you.
Well, I think nerd is also kind of a weird. We'll get into that in a little bit. There's a great podcast called The Nerdist with Chris Hardwick and those guys. They kind of explain it pretty well in a way, but I also think, there's there's a very chic nerd thing that's been happening for past 10 years.
Oh, you mean it's cool to be a nerd?
Yeah, but we'll go on, finish the wall. Is that it with the Wahlburgers?
Oh, no, Wahlburgers, I can go on and on about Wahlburgers. We go out, we get our food, right? We finally get our food, and it's it's pretty pricey. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting a burger, a fucking slab of beef.
Yeah.
And it comes out and it's like Wendy's but with AIDS.
Oh wow! Now I'm picturing a cartoon Wendy's redhead, just everything sucked from her body,
I love
lifeless.
Wendy's.
Yeah,
I'll eat Wendy's once a year. That's my once a year. I will give myself Wendy's once a year, and
it's not bad. I don't get the proverbial and literal shits from Wendy's. I get the psychological shits because I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, it makes you feel bad. It's so terrible about yourself.
Yeah. But it's good.
Wendy's is awesome. It's so good. It's the best fast food place around, I think. Plugging Wendy's. Hey, eat at Wendy's, folks.
Hey, we're plugging.
They're delicious.
I'm sure they'll love
but
to
don't
be
eat there every day because you die.
On this podcast.
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But
Wendy's and AIDS next with the hashtags for this podcast.
It's new in the chili.
Yeah, trending AIDS.
But yeah, the Wahlburgers. It was like Wendy's but disgusting, and they're playing fucking. Dave Matthews Band over the fucking sound system.
Sorry. What? It's just it's is it Muzaki Dave Matthews?
Yeah, it's just all the hits of the 90s, 90s urban hits, and it's just what? What is going on? And no TV really had. There was 3 different TVs, and each TV had something different on. One was playing clips or segments from Christmas movies.
Oh, I thought that it would be great if it was the Wahlberg just saying, get your burger, move to your plate. They're actually instructing you what to do and how to go.
It would have been cool. It would have been awesome if Roller Girl was there delivering my burgers and just everything.
How was the service? Was everyone I hate my life here?
Oh no, our hostess was very nice.
Yeah, hostess?
Yeah, we had a hostess.
For Wahlburgers?
It's a fast food joint. It's a fucking fast food joint. You walk in I was expecting.
It's the new Arby's.
Yeah, it was or maybe this is gonna be a Longhorns or something like that, or just some sort of burger place. And it's a fast food joint.
Yeah,
it really is. So bad. Wahlburgers.
It sounds like a uterine wall blast. Like someone came and a woman's and the baby, like whatever didn't make it to the baby, like Wahlburgers. They just kind of form into sort of like spermicidal meat and then just kind of cling to it like staglamites or something. But that'd be great. Like Harvey Wallbanger. Wow, that's weird. I remember hearing about that on the Facebook, not in actual 4D space, but in the virtual world of friendship. But I'll keep using that nerd voice. But that's my one punch. Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you like the Mark Wahlberg story I had.
No.
Because it was weird. Actually, there are a couple. There are two. I have more than a person should have about Mark Wahlberg, who isn't involved with any the Wahlberg estates or anything. But what was it? In college I used to speed a lot, or do speed, I forget whichever. Just in the car, and I got a lot of tickets, and enough that it was just kind of you have to go to this like improved driving class in Lawrence. Yeah. And I go there, and there's a guy. The guy is like he was a Napoleonic tough guy. He was like a short Dorchester guy, and he had like he was nice, but he had like that typical like 5 o'clock shadow, like small shaved head, kind of almost like one eye was trying to like
just to be
go
tough.
Magnetic north, like, and the rest of it. Yeah, exactly. It was like the tough eye. The tough eye, but it just like his body, his genetic makeup and his eye weren't agreeing. and
just weren't in sync and not relating to each other. No, they don't agree.
No, it's just like one's like you're kind of tough, and just the other eye's like, but I want to be here, and just no, it's not happening.
Think this through before we start getting physical.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's gonna have a stroke, and you don't want to hit him in the face. But he was a nice guy. But he was. But it just had that like stature about him. It was just bizarre. And like that whole day was nuts. It was like a 4-hour class. We just sit and talk about this is how we should drive. And there was a guy that before we get to the Wahlberg.
Troy McClure hosting it? Or is Troy McClure hosting it?
No, yeah, I mean, might as well. It was in Lawrence too. And if you live in Massachusetts or northern Massachusetts, Lawrence is kind of a shithole. There's some great aspects of it. Historically, I guess, but then I don't know. No, fuck it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I was born there. I lived there until I was like 2 or 3, and then I moved to the neighboring town. But what was it? Yeah, there go the dogs.
Those are dogs.
So what happened was there were a whole bunch of weird stories that day. One of them before the Wahlberg one. There was a guy I think called like
settle down,
like Hound Dog, who looked like a trucker, like a kind of like. Keep on trucking, like he had like a some sort of jacket. Hey, Lil.
You want to relax? Can we talk about this?
She's coming over.
Talk about you maybe settling down a little bit. There you go. Lick my finger. It's adorable.
All right. All right. So what happened? There was this, I forget, like something dog, like rum dog or ram dog or something, like I'm the dog, and he was just kind of, he had like this crazy mustache and long hair and like this kind of almost Civil War cap kind of thing going on, and like a denim cut-off jacket from like the 80s, and it's like, oh yeah, he's like, oh man, yeah, I went to, and this was like maybe his 3rd time at this class, I don't know, but he was telling stories about like, yeah, I went to AA, I was pretty drunk.
Dude, I was just gonna say like DUI all the way, obviously for this guy, just without a doubt.
Oh, it's so bizarre. I don't know if he got in for a DUI. That's the thing. But I mean, of the myriad of crazy like Ram Dog, I'll call him Ram Dog just for the sake of
why not?
Ram Dog like myriad of Ram Dog stories. This was like, yeah, I went to AA and I was just drunk and stumbling around, and they're like, do you have a problem? I'm like, no, I don't have a problem. And it was just weird. He was just there, and I'm looking around, like trying to point at people, like, hey, anyone getting this? Like, anyone keeping record of this? And then I, being obviously from the tone, probably you hear, like, it just a smug jackass asked the Dorchester guy who was moderating it, the guy with the eye and the body that just weren't meshing, a little Napoleonic tough guy. You know, he was from Dorchester, and like he said, he grew up with the Wahlbergs or whatever. I'm like, whoa, any weird like Mark Wahlberg stories? And he kind of almost solemnly like put his head down, like this one's for my nigga, and like pouring out like a 40. Like he had that kind of look, and like he like looking into the sun, like the camera's like on him, and it's like, I'll tell you a story. It's like he goes, yeah, he used to steal a lot of cars, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm just once again the look of, anyone getting this? And it was like, awesome. It was pretty nuts. But he was nice, and At the end of that crazy story, crazily, I actually went down the wrong way of a one-way street getting out of there because it's so damn confusing. Yeah.
The course did nothing.
The course did nothing. It actually infuriated me. And
apparently it kicked in a few years later because you're one of the safest drivers I know. How would you feel so safe driving with you?
Yeah, well, like you learn... I can drive fast, but there's a whole bunch of... That's the thing. People mistake driving fast for being...
I absolutely agree.
Like a non-safe driver, but I mean, you just know where to go. And also, it's also the speed of the traffic. Like keeping with that. Now now we're down to drive talk. Or
no, we're fucking.
I actually really do love car talk. I'm like part of that. I forget the brothers what they're called, but I love them. And it's cheesy humor, but it's great. They're good and they're solemn, not like us. They mean it. They want to heal you. Me, we're just like my black soul just comes pouring out. Ever listening, but yeah, that's so Wahlburgers. Yeah, that's where that.
We talked about Mark Wahlberg a lot. I feel.
Yeah, this is actually part of. We might actually have the name of the podcast. Oh God, Wanted Wahlberg or Unwanted Wahlberg.
Wallcast.
Wallcast. Yeah. Oh God, that'd be great. And then we get one of them on here. Apparently, someone
just be Donnie.
Yeah. Oh, all Donnie all the time.
Dude.
Apparently. Yeah, apparently he just really... A friend of mine worked on set with him. One of the things he was doing around Boston was like a cop show. And apparently he was just kind of more reserved. And people would come up to me, hey, you okay? And he'd be like, yeah, what up? And it's just kind of like, what? It's like, you're from... Okay. It's like, all right. Okay, Bean. I have two dogs. I call one of them Bean. Matilda Bean is her name, or Maddie Bean. John loves her.
One that's making noise... I swear to God, it's a demon.
Bean, come on, come on.
It's a demon.
Yeah, she kind of is, but she's
an
adorable demon.
One of them will just lick your fingers and be do cute little adorable things, and then the other one will bite you when you walk.
Yep, it's fire walking. Oh, Lil, you heard her name, and the other one is Lily Bean because they're from the Bean clan. And yes, that's how queer I am with my dogs. I describe
a grown man with Dachshunds.
Yeah, wearing sweaters and hugging their miniature Dachshunds. But yeah, that's all right. Let's go on to. I mean, we talked about Brian Collins, and you went to what was it, Wahlberg? What is it, Wahlburgers?
Yeah,
man.
Just don't go to Wahlberg. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Like, sure, I'd say go for the experience and figure it out yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, typically, like, don't see this movie or expect this from that movie. And if you want to see it for A, B, or C, go ahead, waste your money or do whatever.
So speaking of fucking movies, how excited are you? Like,
my neck.
I got like surprised a lot like the past couple of weeks. Like,
you
get blown like the Hobbit trailer.
Like you got sharked.
Shocky. But yeah, dude, the Hobbit trailer comes out, and the Dark Knight trailer comes out, and then like that new one with Gary Oldman, that Tinker Soldier.
Oh yeah, that actually is out now.
Is it really?
That's in Boston. That's actually Tinker Toy Soldier.
Yeah,
I forget the actual name.
It looks fucking awesome. Like there's so many good movies coming out like next year. Like as someone who's very cynical about movies the past few years, like.
But let's be clear, you're cynical about movies, but you like a lot of shit.
I love shitty movies.
Well, I kind of like shitty movies too. I'm gonna be honest, but go ahead. Let's go down the list before we get into the good. Well, you've listed some of the good movies you want to see, like Dark Knight this summer, and what else is coming out this summer that actually we were talking about? The Avengers coming out.
As a nerd,
yeah.
Dude, the Avengers. I can't. You get Joss Whedon. And helming the Avengers does a lot for me.
Well, I don't like. I've never been like. What about the only real thing I've seen of Joss Whedon? I have a lot of nerd friends who like love him and
Serenity?
Like who milk their tits over him, be it male or female. No, I've never seen Serenity.
Serenity is probably one of the best sci-fi movies to come out in.
Oh yeah, well that's based on Firefly, which I hear, which a bunch of people told me been pretty good. But I like to shy away. It's part of my natural defense, shy away from something.
Right. Anything that you hear a lot of positive buzz about, you automatically want to just hate.
Kinda. I mean, there's something just like you gotta do. It's like, no, asshole, I don't have to do anything. Like, it's like, shut up.
Well,
I'll watch it when I want to watch it.
The other side of that, though, is like you build up something you hate so much that it winds up being good. Like, the new Conan, I shit you not, is a good movie.
Well,
it's fucking awesome.
I can imagine that being fun. I can imagine that being don't give me that snarl.
I'm not saying it's Schindler's List. I'm just saying it's an awesome movie.
Yeah, of course. Well, who is, except for Oscar Schindler? That would be great if we had a Oscar Schindler's List of like 2010 or 11 best movies.
It's just depressing. It sucks.
They're right, yeah. It's like another Holocaust movie. All right, thanks, Schindler.
We get it. It was terrible. Let it go.
Let it go. I'm
on.
not a Nazi yet. But no, yeah, of course. But I mean, like, fun, and people hate when you use the term fun. It's a lot of people will hate, like, oh, it was fun, you're having fun up there. And it's like, I hate when people say that to me. Like, sure, but you're a fucking performer. You want people to be fucking goddamn miserable for everything you do? It's just like, fun, take a compliment when you can, you piece of shit. And it just kind of, I don't know.
G.I. Joe?
But I can hear it.
The original G.I. Joe. The one that just came out a couple years ago?
Yeah, like a year or two ago.
It's a fun movie.
I'll
use your term. It's a fun movie.
Well,
it's a piece of shit as a movie. As a movie, it's not winning any awards, but it's good. It was entertaining. It was almost like a live action cartoon. It was that ridiculous.
Well, I would say, why don't you just make a cartoon? But then again,
yeah, argue that.
But yeah, no, yeah, something like that. But you know what to expect. A G.I. Joe movie. If I don't want, I also
dude,
like
ninjas. When was the last time you watched a movie with ninjas in it? Like, there's not enough.
Like
ninjas
yesterday,
in
the Ninja Channel.
Oh,
back on. It's one of the Cinemax West. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, the second one looks better as a cohesive, like, kind of fun, another fun movie. Like, I like fun movies too, but there's a degree of, like, where I do have that threshold, like, okay, I kind of...
Yeah, your brain needs some stimulation after a while.
Sure, I mean, I like... An action movie is great, but I mean, give me something, like, once again, like with this podcast, give me something, try to do something different with it, or at least present it. Like, there are a lot of, in the kind of infantile... or kind of marketing to as like we as adults as more child-like than say 20 years ago, because we grew up in the past couple generations have been inundated by commercials full of toys and whatever, and just growing up on the mass commercialization of like things, and it's tough because I collect action figures. And just kind of like it suppresses the shit out of me because I'm like, I'm a grown man, and I'm lucky I have like nieces and nephews. Yeah, yeah. Oh God. But no, there's a lot of that unsettling to me, and like a deeper meaning through it. Like, I'll get it and be like, oh, okay, and just be like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah. Well, really, it's just like masturbating. It just kind of sometimes it's amazing, and then it just goes into like. Oh,
dude, the only reason I do that anymore is so I don't fucking I have some sort of like testosterone. I need just like a testosterone valve I can just press and so it just seeps out of me. And coincidentally, it's my dick.
Yeah.
At this point,
it's a direct line.
Yeah. Just oh my God. Yeah. Otherwise, I get all weird and angsty and rage-like. So. Yeah,
that's kind of. I mean, it was one of our friends kind of jokingly like said like. Yeah, well, sometimes I don't do it, and then it feels better after. It feels great after a week.
Dude, you shouldn't have to take a break from jerking off.
Well, I mean, if you do that, if you jerk off, like, and give it a couple days and then, like, go crazy. I mean, sometimes I just do it, like...
You just play tricks on yourself, so just keep it fun. Just keep it interesting. Like, you can
keep it romantic.
I can still love myself. Oh. I still love loving myself.
Yeah, well, I loathe loving and, or love loathing. And it just... Well, part of it, too, it's like it gets to a point where I'll be at my place or be at my house and my wife will be asleep because my wife has, like, a total different... Yeah, and I do have a wife, I'll say. She deals with the whole comic books and action figures. And she has gotten me one year, and it was like, it was the wrong one, quote unquote. And she's like, whatever. And she was cute about it. But no, just like you have, like, the routine, and, like, masturbation sometimes can be that... Like, I take a shower in the morning, and then, like, at night, like, after work or after doing something, I'm sitting back, like, I guess I'll masturbate.
Well, like, it's also a time killer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just something to do. Yeah. You're like,
I don't want to go to bed, but I don't want to. Yeah.
Well, it's good. You but like then you get that like that. You fucking blow on out, and then all of a sudden you get like this. Your head just clears a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute. Yeah, I would like a sandwich now. I would like a sandwich now. That makes sense. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll say like it does lend to. Like I've accomplished something weird, but nothing, and
then
psychologically, like for that brief second, like I've done something, and then like oh no, then I have this pile of non-jerking off work I have to do, and that just leads down that other road. No, but I guess the whole point. I forget the whole point. It was just jerking off, and what was the thing before that?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just going down this tunnel.
Tracked with fucking master.
Oh, the movies in Schindler's List. No, but
yeah, those two are very closely related.
Yeah, masturbating to Schindler's List. No, but yeah,
road heading down a dark path.
That's what we call shame come, as we call in the business.
Oh my god.
No, but yeah, the movies for 2000, Josh Whedon and the Avengers. I guess we'll get back to that because we were kind of focusing on like being excited about it. I don't know Josh Whedon that well.
It's Joss.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say Josh?
Yeah, Josh.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm using a conventional name. Joss. Yeah, I also have a list, so deal with it. Bort. We are out of Joss license plates. And no, I saw the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was funny. Paul Rubens was actually. I forgot as a kid. Paul Rubens is that vampire.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like '94.
I'll say it.
And I think they were gonna remake that without him.
Yeah.
And I think that's in limbo hell, is what they call it, in the biz, or development hell.
There's some movies I just fucking hope stay that way too. Like that fucking Akira. They're trying to make a live action Akira.
Yeah. They've been trying for a while. Well, I don't know how long. Maybe a couple, 4 or 5 years. Maybe a little less.
I just watched that a couple of weeks ago too.
I've seen bits and pieces.
It's so good. It's such a good movie. Like, I don't know, like you get like some uppity nerds, whatever, it's overrated. It's really not. It's fucking awesome. It's an awesome movie.
I love 80s anime.
Yeah, and like
it's got a great feel to it.
You can't remake that movie. It's just way too intense and weird to make. If it was live action, it would just be silly.
Well, and that's the thing with like a lot of Marvel movie stuff and just kind of. Oh, here's a plug. Animation company called Blur. They did actually the promo stuff for Lagoon. That's Goon, and that's
not the one with Sean William Scott.
No, which is yes. Actually, thank you for the distinction, because that's a trailer coming out, which I actually kind of like him in certain things.
Yeah, he's a good dickhead.
No, exactly. He's a good dickhead. He's a good idiot too.
Yeah, yep.
And you could. I mean, usually those guys are pretty good actors. You can tell if they play a good idiot. They're usually you're like, oh, they understand the gravity of their idiocy. Yeah, exactly. But the Goon, like they did the promo stuff for Lagoon, which is a comic done by Eric Powell. That's it, done by Eric Powell. So check that out. And Blur Animation did also the animation for the first Marvel. Oh God, what was that Marvel co-op game? That's like X-Men Legends.
Oh, Ultimate Alliance?
Ultimate Alliance. Marvel Ultimate Alliance for Xbox, PlayStation, and I think like Wii.
It was a fun game.
It was a fun game. The second one's pretty fun too. The animation.
I didn't get through it. Like I'd played.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played the shit out of the first one, so it was like I didn't. The second.
It's more of the same
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Thing.
I mean, it's weird. Something like that. What can you? It's just like another podcast.
Yeah.
Just like other games. And no, it's weird.
Yeah, no,
it's like what can you do in that situation? It's a sequel. It's like, well, we'll do that. I liked it because there were a lot more characters and it was a fun. It actually kept in tow with the storylines that were happening like within the last 5 years.
It was the Civil War thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You go down each way. I mean, as much as like I'll shit on some things, I'm so fucking elated by the dumbest or like like things that parlay to my like base nerd needs.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's just because it's set there like a fucking a picture of a steak, and I just pick it up and it's just like a fucking dog treat. They're like, eat it, you fucking mutt. I'm like, okay, when's the next one coming? Oh, it's over there in the distance. See, it looks like gravy and mashed potatoes, and that's another picture, and so on and so forth. Bean, oh yeah, so here's the thing. In my apartment, we are by
two very loud dogs.
Dogs, but windows, and people just walk by.
Shut up!
Cage!
Shut up!
Num num! Come on, num num! Num num.
There we go.
So this part will obviously be edited out. But all right, getting to. So yeah, Blur Animation. Oh, I guess getting away from Ultimate Alliance. Really, I have fun, but it's easy for me. Oh, but all right, so I'll get the plug. Blur Animation. Check them out online. They have a lot of good stuff. They did the animation for the first Ultimate Alliance game, which I would love to give. Marvel, listen up. Yeah, listen to me. Obviously, this guy, he'll get you there. But actually, Marvel animation isn't bad.
No,
but I would love to see a Blur feature-length animated Marvel film. I think they have. See, the thing in it too. Just watch it again. Look online. Go to YouTube. Ultimate Alliance AMV, animated movie stuff, and you'll see just how fucking good it is. Because it's just they got the character movement down, and that's so key. Like in some animation, you just don't see like the fluidity of movement within these characters and these.
I think it's the case with animation a lot nowadays, though, dude. Like animation's taken a back seat to like. it's just like so you can crank it out faster. Like,
well, exactly. Yeah,
I miss like my '80s cartoons. Like you look at '80s
some
cartoons.
Of the '80s cartoons were shit though.
Oh, I'm not saying like story wise, but like some of them were pretty cool. But like the
even
animation,
G.I. Joe had very shitty animation.
Occasionally, but like you know, I mean, you had like these crazy painted backgrounds. Like the backgrounds were like really
that's pretty fun.
Painted like well, like all the cool. Everything just had like a lot of attention to detail and like vibrant colors and just like like now everything's like really just like you can tell something's made in like fucking. Like a shitty computer program. It's like just as simple as it could be, so you can crank it out.
Samurai
fast.
Jack, I guess, is a good example of just like they use Flash.
Right, yeah, that was
exactly.
That was a badass
and
show.
the same guy who did Clone Wars for Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I tried that. I couldn't. Star Wars is dead to me, I think.
Well, that was actually that was pretty decent considering, I guess, if you were to put it in that phrase. But they use Yoda like he should, like a Jedi Master, not some sort of weird pickled Muppet. But I digress. It's but yeah, getting back to just like Josh.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry, I can't.
He's gonna call up.
I know it. He's gonna call up and we're gonna talk like Tori Amos and Neil Gaiman on the phone. sing me to sleep tonight, Jules. But yeah, no, I only know him from like that Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. The first, like, I think I saw the pilot for the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer show, and I've read, I think, 1 or 2 X-Men comics he did of, like, Astonishing, which weren't bad. I know he did a bunch of, like, rewrites for Toy Story, the original Toy Story. He was, like, one of the guys writing, like, doing the punch-ups, or not just punch-ups, I think, like, stories and all, getting that stuff involved. It's weird, like, any time you see someone at, like, a Hollywood thing, not just, like, having worked in that machine, like, for, like, a year, it's weird. Like, you just see what happens, and everyone there knows. But it's just like a weird, like, you know, credits are just kind of used as almost like an appeasement for contractual obligation.
Yeah.
And you know, for SAG or WGA or what have you. And like, there's so many writers and so many cooks in different scripts or whatever. So that's kind of a red flag. It was written by, okay, well maybe it was, and yada yada yada. But I guess getting to the point. Sorry, I don't have my sample of him. I can't judge, like, I don't know. I guess, and he's also a cheap option, because that's the thing. They're trying to make these as best they can on.
I think they're doing a kick-ass job, man. Like all the Marvel movies so far, I've really dug. Even like the Hulk, like the Hulk.
Oh, it's like a good cable movie. It's a really good cable movie.
The Hulk was like. I'm not talking about the shitty Eric Bana Hulk. I'm talking about like that was terrible.
Which I kind of like to a degree, but I do think it's
so bad. Like the end, it's like a fucking Nick Nolte turns into
Absorbing Man, yeah, and Zazak. They do like 2 or 3 different people.
It made no sense. But yeah, the new Hulk was like it was. I don't want to say it's as good as you could make a live action Hulk movie because I think you could do better. Yeah. But like. It was still pretty fucking good. It was entertaining as hell, and like I don't know, it had a little bit more depth to it than I expected. Like I don't know,
Edward Norton was pretty good. Yeah,
I'm gonna say he's gonna be a cunt and not want to like come back for the new one.
That's why it's like contractual obligation, and he's just difficult. I hear he's a difficult guy on stuff because he didn't like the edit of Fight Club. He didn't like the edit. Like almost every movie, it's the same shtick. So I mean, when you do that, that's gonna happen.
Put your ego, give your ego a fucking backseat every now and then.
I like him. I like his work. But yeah, I hear you.
But
Mark Ruffalo,
whatever.
The new Hulk.
Yeah, whatever. The Hulk's interchangeable. The Hulk. It doesn't really matter who you get to play the Hulk because he's going to turn green in CGI anyway. So.
Well, and it's weird. Like I guess while we're talking about all this Marvel movie madness stuff, they're going to cannibalize the animatics or the CGI from the Hulk from the Avengers and make that into a TV show. What? Yeah, I know, it's weird. So they're just going to take that and run with it for a TV show they're developing with Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, nice.
That I can get right. I can't get Joss. All right, there we go, Joss Whedon. I really am trying, like, not to say Josh.
That's cool.
But yeah,
doesn't get to do enough stuff.
No, he's producing that. He's co-producing The Hobbit.
No, I know. He co-wrote it too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually never read any of the Tolkien books.
I read The Hobbit. The Hobbit's the only one I ever read.
Yeah, my mom really likes The Hobbit. She has one of the originals.
Kind of silly, and like you can see it in the trailer.
Well, yeah.
Like, there's a lot more silliness in The Hobbit going on, but like it looks badass. It looks cool as hell. Like there's a dragon in it. Dragons rule.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love dragons?
Oh, dragons. Yeah, sorry. So those movies, and Dark Knight Rises obviously is a great. Like the trailer for that looked pretty fun.
The Catwoman, I can't get over how shitty the Catwoman costume
well,
is.
it's all about but that's the thing. Like it's all execution how they shoot it because they normally don't do like full body shots and like when they shoot it.
It's not even the body costume is fine. The mask.
How can you do like the cat like in like a 4D world? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you give it the most recent one, like the one from the comics or the one from Arkham City.
Oh, with like the goggles.
Yeah, it's got the goggles and that. It's fucking awesome. It looks awesome.
All right.
I would just go with that route, but I'm not a fancy schmancy Hollywood director.
Yeah. Or a costume designer. Yeah, I don't know. That's remains to be seen with other trailers we'll get. And apparently there'll be a new Avengers trailer in January.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, check out any like weird nerdery, like all the websites I check out, superherohype.com.
Comically Speaking,
Facebook page, because there's a great, comicallyspeaking.com is actually a great site for the store itself, for Comically Speaking. It's a store in Reading, Massachusetts.
It's a cool fucking store, too.
Right where, close to where I live. I live in North Reading, Massachusetts. And, yeah, it's a pretty big, crazy store. And it's one of the last... And I guess we can get it... let's finish. We'll get into that in a second. Let's just finish off. What other 2010 movies? Oh, Prometheus.
Dude, Prometheus. Yes. Yeah, that looks awesome. Like
Ridley Scott's... Oh, this isn't an Aliens prequel.
Yeah. Well,
no, it's not. It's not.
It's like he keeps like... He's like, I wish he would just... say it for what it is. Like, it is. And
well,
like,
from the graphics and everything.
Yeah, the most recent interview I saw on him, he was like saying, it is, but it's not. You're not going to see the xenomorph. And for all you people that
what's the xenomorph? That was the
xenomorph
ship,
is the
right?
Actual alien, like the alien creatures.
Oh, those are called xenomorphs.
Yeah,
based on.
That's a dog toy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, based on what's his name, Geiger.
Yeah, the Geiger
drawings.
And I guess Geiger came back to do some stuff for the new one.
What? I didn't know he was live.
He's still alive and weird.
Oh, Geiger. If you don't know H.R. Geiger stuff, just check it online.
Weird space dicks.
Oh, it's
space dicks.
It's pretty much it's more elaborate ways to put dicks into space, into the vacuum of space.
He makes some weird stuff, but it's cool. It's fucking weird. But,
that's pretty great.
Yeah, the movie
very intestinal, if that makes any sense. Does that?
No, yeah, it's like all very anatomical. Yeah, and like just a lot of dicks. A lot of dicks. He drives a lot of dicks.
His house is just, instead of the door knocker, just balls. And obviously you have to jerk off the knob to ring the bell.
Yeah. I'm fucking psyched for that movie, dude. That's going to be one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most next year, just because like it's cool to see.
Oh, the summer, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole Alien prequel, and it's like all about like the universe. It's about like a group of explorers go out to look for like the creation of the universe or something.
Oh, wow.
They come back and like all this, like it's all like related to the alien stuff. And if you watch the trailer, you can see it. Like some dude gets stuff on. It's like a goo almost. Like it's like a face hugger, but it's like the raw. It's like the raw form of the face hugger. Like it's all weird. Like the primal raw form of the aliens, but before they were mixed with some other creature's DNA. Because the aliens, like the aliens themselves, like all took different forms. Like they were all kind of the same.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like, and the third one was a little sleeker and smaller because it was from a dog. So it's like the basic DNA changes for each.
I keep forgetting that
creature. Yeah, so
you're gonna think this is sick, and it is in its nature. But I remember that from the toy lines, like different bull aliens and bulrush aliens and like almost not rhino aliens, but just whatever animal you throw.
Slightly different, but like this is supposed to be like Prometheus is supposed to be like the raw form of what they are.
Yeah,
and it goes more into like the whole space jockey thing. So it's gonna be. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be rad. Like and he'll do a good job because he makes movies.
Oh, it's gonna be rad.
Yeah.
Why don't you just Gleam McCune, buddy?
Oh.
Wow.
Going down hell track.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty good. I forget what else during the summer is coming up.
You're really not like. What? Are you just like trying to protect yourself?
From
what?
Trying
to like shield
yourself?
No,
I'm looking forward to it. It looks good. It looks beautiful. And Prometheus, is that what?
Avengers.
Avengers?
Like you're just trying to put your shield up so you're not disappointed?
I think that's part of it, yeah. I definitely think. Of course. I mean, I was excited as all hell. I went to New York Comic Con, and we actually still have to write that article for Lonely Reviewer. Here's another plug, lonelyreviewer.com. Yeah, it's fucking 2.5 months late. But we'll get to the... we'll get to that also with like comic booky type of stuff. But we were talking about before we went to Prometheus, which is comic books in general. But and we'll get into that. But just Avengers. No, I am excited, of course, and the new Spider-Man movie, which you don't. I'm actually very excited about that. Which I don't understand.
I'm on the fence.
Well, I think.
I like what they're doing with in the trailer is cool. They show the web swinging, and it's got like they took that directly from that video game Mirror's Edge. I don't care what anybody says. I
don't think anyone's disputing that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a cool idea, and like I'm glad they did that. Yeah. It looks awesome. It was a cool way to make a first person sort of like perspective of how cool it would be to have his powers.
Well,
But
also, and that's it.
I'm tired of the fucking brooding Spider-Man. I'm tired of it. Why is he a brooding cunt? Like, I'm sick of it.
Apparently, according to San Diego Comic-Con accounts, and that was half nerd, half like I didn't decide to go into nerd voice, so it just kind of lingered. You know what I mean? It's like the shell of it, like you break an egg and you don't fully whisk it. But enough culinary metaphors. But yeah, I guess apparently like he is snappy, and I do agree. That's from the Spider-Man movies. I didn't appreciate. Like, the whole point of him, like, putting on that face or putting on that mask, the whole point of being a superhero, or being like he's a poor boy, being a rich kid. That's the equivalent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Spider-Man is being powerful. And just kind of like, and wealth equates to that power. And it was a Donald Glover from Community, the guy who plays Troy, and also Childish Gambino. I've said on another podcast, which is probably WTF with Mark Maron, talked about, so yeah, is it wrong that we're like directing people to other shit? And just like, don't listen to this.
No, whatever. We like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be a
You're going to hear a lot of plugs on this because we like a lot of things.
Yeah, so. And we're the product of oversaturation or consumption, media consumption. And we're trying to give back, but...
We won't.
Yeah, it's not really... It's more just regurgitation. But no, Donald Glover talked about, because he was actually, there was like a brief campaign of like, oh, make Donald Glover your next Spider-Man. It was kind of funny. And he made a great, his take is great on it. He's like, well, Spider-Man is a black kid. He lives in Queens. He's poor. He's being raised by his aunt. And he's like, what?
Can we stop with that too?
What?
Like, I'm just so sick of that too. It's like everyone, like, political correctness has reached the state of like,
I think
you have to like, you have to equate that Spider-Man has to be a black guy now.
No, I don't. I think you're misappropriating the term, or just like, I think you're digesting it a different way. No, it's not. Enough. I understand what you're saying. That's a whole different. What he's saying socioeconomically, like Spider-Man, he could be a black guy. He could be like because he would get.
That's almost racist in itself, though.
No. I mean, just like no, because there's. I mean, now you're being would be phases, or just kind of seen as kind of like that, almost too socially.
But like at the same time, like it's like.
No, we're not saying that right. In order to be black, you have to be a poor person being raised by your aunt and not with parents. It's just you can't deny the similarities of just African American culture or African American what am I saying? That's redundancy upon redundancy. I don't even know. No, but that there are African Americans in New York City, just like there can be white people or Hispanic, but the numbers just suggest that more African Americans in certain are in these socioeconomic brackets. Not to say their places haven't been rising over the last 50 years.
Right.
Since, I mean, just like any sort of emancipation through any sort of ethnicity, any sort of new wave of the word I'm looking for, immigration or what have you. I mean, that's how it works. That's the historical trends. But he was just linking that, yeah, it could be anyway. Definitely could be a black. Spider-Man could be black because he was getting. Of course,
he could be a space alien. Like, he could be a space alien.
No,
like,
sure.
Does it matter?
Well, no, but it's just because, like, yeah, but that is but it's the perfect kind of like he wears that mask. He is that person. His whole take is like, because he was getting threats like, you better not, like real racist threats like Spider-Man, like, yeah, Spider-Man has to be white. It's just like, no, it doesn't, like, all right, I'll throw that bone to you. Like, you're right, he doesn't have to, he can be a space alien. Spider-Man, just the idea is, it was this poor kid who's very smart and very with it, and just kind of, he's a bitter kid. And like the first Inception, like if you read the first stuff with Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, like he's not a happy-go-lucky guy. He's a bitter asshole.
Well, he wasn't a bitter asshole. He was just some kid who got picked on all the time.
No, but he was nice. But he definitely was bitter. He definitely had that kind of "I'll show them one day" kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the '60s though, so it's all kind of like ham-fisted.
No,
like, hey.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, but it's in that kind of encased kind of. Like bitterness where like you get picked on, you're not happy about being picked on, and some kids deal with it better than others.
Well, the one thing I always liked about Spider-Man, the one thing I always related to him was like, I was a dork. I get picked on when I was a kid, but like at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna like I'm not looking to like crush my enemies or just I'm not gonna sit there and brood and like be like all.
No, but they're
he webs the rhino in the eyes and makes a joke and kicks his ass down a flight of stairs.
Well, I don't think he ever. I don't ever think he. Yeah, I don't think he.
See that.
Well, of course, and I think this from the back to the San Diego Comic-Con reports, and I guess finishing the thought, like, yeah, Donald Glover was just like, could be anyone because you're in that kind of. This is kind of a status of typically a New York City African American kid, or just like, I mean, it could be Hispanic, but obviously, you know.
But I think like one of the reasons like they keep trying to do stuff like that is to like reinvent. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just trying to make it more interesting for maybe people that aren't
bring in another audience.
But like at the same time, it's like just fucking keep making good stories. Like I jumped off the Spider-Man comics years ago because they were getting like ridiculous. It was just terrible. It turned terrible.
Yeah, I mean it's part of that thing. Just like, and I'll keep going with Glover's kind of explanation because it's just whatever will make money, and that's the thing. And not to take away from what he was. I mean, yeah. So I thought he had a pretty good take on it. Just like you could definitely put in like a black kid as Peter Parker. I mean, there's no, and that we'll get into the comics version of that in a second. But I guess back. You talking about him being brooding, San Diego Comic-Con report about the footage and stuff the presentation, he was more snappy and more kind of like energetic. I want to
see that. Like, Tobey Maguire was so wooden and terrible. He was terrible.
They tried with one thing. I mean, I think he had the perfect look for Peter Parker and perfect like Peter Parker-esque type of things when he wasn't always crying.
Yeah, but this is too much crying.
That's where we differ.
Bad acting. Yeah, the second one. I think the second one out of all those movies are terrible. The second one is good. I like the second one.
You like the second one?
Yeah, but that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Mirror's Edge stuff, and it's perfect for 3D. It's a perfect like. Well, we have 3D. I mean, it's going to have to be in 3D because it's a major.
Shooting it in 3D, or is it post-convert?
I don't know. I think probably post. Yeah, they're probably doing it post. Yeah. But I mean, like with the Mirror's Edge stuff, it doesn't matter because you're just filtering it through a computer.
It's a cool visual perspective, I think.
Yeah, and with 3D, that'll make it at least like because I forget what comedian said. Just kind of like, it's like you're not gonna like who's gonna be afraid to that one old person might be afraid to like they're gonna get shot or they like put like Vietnam vets in like a Vietnam 3D movie and just see what happens.
Platoon in 3D.
Yeah, Platoon 3D.
Post-convert.
Yeah, the thin red line, just kind of in 3D.
I'm so sick of like I'm all set with like I won't see a 3D movie if it's post convert anymore because they're just a waste of money.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just another way to jam you.
Yeah, it really is. But like I don't know, it's like sick of that whole thing. Like
well, that's what they feel they need to do, not necessarily economically.
Well, I call that like I do advertising for a movie theater chain and like. You know, that was like a big thing.
All right, sure. Shove it in my face.
I did like they do like a lot of it was like a big thing when like 3D came up was like you know whether to invest because it was fucking expensive. It was like you have to invest all this money in like new projectors and screens and like it was just ridiculous. Like how much?
Keep going,
dog. It was just ridiculous how much like you actually have to invest into being able to show a 3D movie. So you know you're gonna have to jack the prices up a little bit for tickets, but I'm not gonna see. I don't want to see something that's not worth seeing in 3D. Like so many like Thor was in 3D and it was a post convert and I saw it in 3D and the 3D was terrible. It was just a waste, but you know it was a great movie still, but I'm tired of paying for just movies that aren't shot in 3D. Like I think the only really good 3D movie I saw that was just perfect for 3D because it was shot made specifically for 3D. No, Alvin and the Chipmunks 2. Yeah. Avatar. It sounds cliche, but Avatar was an amazing 3D experience.
I know, I actually do agree. Whether you think the story is shit or not, I think they use 3D incredibly.
Yeah, and from what I hear is the new Scorsese one. What is it? Hugo. I heard that's got brilliant 3D because once again, like James Cameron, Martin Scorsese is an actual filmmaker and knows how to shoot something.
No, and that's the thing. I actually that's one of the movies I need to see. One of my good friends, director of the upcoming horror movie Shook. My friend Ben, he was just like, yeah, go see Hugo. He's a big Scorsese fan, but. So I mean, I would think, oh, what else would he say? But no, I trust his judgment, and I've been hearing the same kind of reviews too. So it's good. Well, this time of year is pretty good if you have vacation time. If you're like a cinephile like us, just go. If you go to a local theater, go also to like a bargain theater because there are a lot of chains around. But if you're in a place like anywhere in the U.S. and you can find like that, I know this is hippie chat, but I mean, like, you can find like that mon pa like. Yeah. It's easier in Massachusetts than around the Boston area. No. So I you know, and New York and like all those major metropolitan areas. But if you're in like Kansas or like you're in Wichita and you're like there's like a shitty draft house that like you can go for like $5 or $7 during the day. Go for it. Like I mean that's the best.
Yeah, I went and saw Contagion. It was
yeah, you didn't like that, right?
Contagion. Like I liked it for like a half hour because it was like a really solid like.
It's a Soderbergh, right?
Yeah, and it was like a creepy like way of looking at how disease like is actually spread. And like you know, it's every time you see someone cough and then like touch a pole or something like oh that sucks because like you know.
I can go anywhere.
Yeah, it just goes anywhere. And like,
I put my fingers in my mouth.
You just think about how disgusting people can really be, or just like how, like you just don't think about stuff like that. But it's like,
well, we swim through an atmosphere of microbes and all. I mean, like we exist in a petri dish.
Yeah, it's not, it's a great way of looking at it, and like it really did a good job of illustrating that. And it was just a really scary thing. But then, like after a half hour into the movie, it just becomes nothing. It literally just becomes like an hour and 15-minute waste of time. It was just.
Well, is it like because I was reading something like top? I mean, there's. I mean,
it starts to go into like the apocalyptic phase of it, like
or like people not. They're trying to find something.
Yeah,
in
they're
each
trying
other.
to find like a cure, but like you know,
or just relationships. I guess I'm getting at.
Yeah, and it turns into that, and like, but it wasn't about anything. You don't care. You just don't care. It's just it's just one series of nonsense after the other. So it just became. It sucks because I really did like it for a half hour, and then I was just like, by the time I left, I was just what just happened.
Yeah.
But.
Oh wow. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I really want to like that movie too. I'll probably see it because I like everyone in it too. Like you have Kate Winslet, Lawrence Fishburne, and Matt Damon. I'm actually kind of sweet on. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you know.
No, he's in it. Gwen Paltrow dies in it, so I mean, it's not all that bad. I actually like Gwen Paltrow.
Yeah, she's a decent actress, but like it's you have to see it just so you can make your own. You know, obviously make your own opinion on it. But like it's just
interesting.
It's just weird to watch the wheels fall off the bus or something so fast.
Yeah,
because it starts off really strong. It's like a really strong, creepy movie just about like disease and how it can just wipe us out and how quickly like that sort of thing is. You know how realistic that is and how quickly like things could turn around and you know you got like government like coming in to take over and issuing out like food rations and it was just like looting. It was crazy. But then
apocalyptic movies are fun.
Yeah, dude,
they really
except for The Road. Did you ever see The Road?
No, I wanted to see that.
Dude.
Cormac, I heard the book's really good.
I've never read the book, but like I heard like
No Country for Old Men, the same author who did that. Yeah,
that's cool. That's a fucking great movie too. Yeah. But The Road. Dude, I highly recommend everybody see The Road. But you
is it really bad?
Dude, no. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
But it is a
depressing
fucking drag. Like I have never watched a movie.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's
like so hopeless though. It's not like one of those like, it's like the apocalypse is fun kind of movies. It's like a
oh no, it's the actual apocalypse.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Like you don't want that to happen at all. And like
you got to kill your own food.
Yeah,
you got.
Like, there's no food because all the food is dead. Like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a fucking miserable.
So I don't know. All right,
it's a miserable movie, but it's really good. It's really Viggo Mortensen's awesome, and the kid.
No, Viggo, as they call him.
Good. But it was really good, but you got to really just like watch something with kittens after, so you feel better. It's like oh look.
Oh, I forgot it was playing on. All right, we'll get to comics in a second, and your kind of. Departure from it, but I want to get. Well, let's get into the topic of something. You know, you need to hug a kitten. That's why I love having dogs because then I could just easily like hug them. And after masturbating, it's always awkward. But
especially if you didn't wash your hands.
And you didn't wash your I don't really wash anything. Or dangling flues. No. What was it? For Christmas, I'm always like a year behind. Especially with video games. Video games mostly because, like, I don't really have that much time. I have time to do a podcast, but I don't have time to play a video game. But, like, Dead Rising 2. I thought I wouldn't like Dead Rising, the first one, because that's when the first Xbox 360 came out, the first version.
That was an old one.
Yeah, and it was like, I played the demo when I was living in L.A., and my friend had it, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun, but it's, who gives a shit?
I liked the first one. I played it
really
a lot,
good.
Though. Yeah, I played Dead Rising a lot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. It's the time-based stuff is fun and frantic, and it's like it really is it's an emotional titty twister. It takes you fucking everywhere and beats the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But the second one, and it's always tough when you have the mentally retarded involved in zombie apocalypse or anything else, because they either have a chip on their shoulder or and finally everyone's dead, and if they have an animal with them, and in this case they had a lion that eats human flesh.
What?
Yeah, and I felt bad for the guy because I had to kill him, and he's like, he gave himself up for his kitty, Snowflake, which was like a Bengal tiger. It's like almost like a, well, it makes sense because it's like it's in Vegas or like Nevada city that's kind of like a Siegfried and Roy thing.
Stuff, yeah.
And so, but it's just like I can't, and I'm such a pussy about it because it's just I'm almost tearing up now because he's like mentally retarded and mentally handicapped, and he just like oh god, he either had a tough life, and the main character who you play does the stupid thing of saying let's take this slowly, and then obviously him saying that back to him slow, like me no slow, pretty much like talking to the Hulk or something.
Oh, man.
And he just goes kind of ape shitty, but it's sad because like he's you're like, man, this guy's had a crazy like mentally retarded life filled with like angst and like no one likes him. And he's also, I
think you're taking that game way, you like really looking into the,
it's really, well, it hits like when I want, I'm like, that's when I'm in, sure. And that's why I can't really commit to something like that. But also like, is there any real dashing mentally retarded person? Like, where is there like Tom Selleck, or there like, where's there like Matt Damon? And just kind of like, it's a really bad, it's an easy get. It's like tug at the hearts, not chug at the heartstrings. Like
just pounding.
Stop eating them. It's easy. It's so easy. It's an easy get for the character, for like mentally retarded character. Well, I mean, it's just like how delicately do you phrase that? I guess.
Dude, as long as that retard can keep up in a zombie apocalypse, as long as he can run a few miles and
that's
swing
incentive.
a baseball bat, like you can roll with me. But
no, I mean that's the thing. Like, but in that, like that's like you have that in video games and stuff like that. Like the either slower or less like psychologically meaty characters. Well, I guess you could call it a psychologically meaty character because he's like. You feel in like the eyes, even though sometimes the animation isn't the best, but you feel it like. And he was a large, burly character with like a. Like shaved head, like he was like
they just went all
a hillbilly.
The fat retarded guy.
Fat retarded guy with overalls, and he had like and he knocked someone out. He knocked the main character out, and he took him to feed him to Snowflake, his kitty or his Bengal tiger.
Yeah, no remorse. For
no. Oh, of course. How could you not have? I mean, he's about to kill you, sure, but just like as an outsider looking in, like how can you not? I do feel like one of my best friends. He's like he is psychotic because he'll be like, yeah, I just want to murder him. Like sure, and I'm like. But I guess it's the old, not to pull Dr. Literati out, and that's my Boston accent trying to be swarmy and smart, but Literati, and it totally diffuses it, yeah. It's like it's such a fucking Cro-Magnon, like, what the fuck?
I can relate to that, though, so, right.
Yeah.
You gotta speak small words for me.
Yeah, it's all right. You simple folk. I wonder how the Smurfs feel about that whole thing. But, no, yeah, just not to pull out a kind of Dr. Literati, but... as Montaigne would say, kind of way back when, French kind of essayists and kind of theorists, when you put too much stake in like plays and other intangible, unreal things, you take away from your real life as being like, won't you care about things that are actually happening?
Well. I mean, that's all right. I can see what you're saying. I had like someone actually,
but I would disagree to degrees with it too. Because I think it actually sharpens some of your empathetic skills.
Video games, like this is gonna sound ridiculous to people who don't play video games. I love this all the time because like you hear this from girls a lot. Like if you got a girlfriend or a wife or whatever who's like,
I think that's shifting too.
It might,
cute games.
Sometimes, I've seen a few girls that play games, but like when you have like. A lot of people just don't get it. They just think it's like a complete waste of time, and it's like, oh, really? Hey, why don't you go ahead and play this? what do I do? Like, there's all these buttons, and like, I don't get
what's an X and Y axis?
What am I supposed to do? Like, how do I do this? It's like, oh, that's right. It actually develops. They help develop your cognitive skills as well as your hand-eye coordination. Like, I don't know how many times I can attribute. I greatly attribute my driving, and many of you who've driven with me might not say that's the best, but I drive fucking well. If I got somewhere to be and I get there, and like I will drive in and out of traffic, I am on top of my game when I drive. Like, I played a fucking ton of Grand Theft Auto or
if you ever played Cruising USA for N64,
I mostly can say Cruising USA changed my life.
It was trigger. See, my mom played against me as a kid. Because it was, well, I was like a teenager or like younger.
Oh yeah, we were like 14.
Yeah, something a little younger. Because I think I was in like 6th grade. But it was like, no, but I remember the accelerator was.
In case that noise picks
crazy.
up in the background, that's none of us jerking off. That is a dog drinking water.
It's pretty adorable.
Actually, it does sound kind of dirty though. So I just want to
like weighting my balls in some sort of puddle,
just greasing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like video games are a great learning tool, and they're great for storytelling. Like I am currently, like, if you see me on Xbox Live right now, what am I playing anytime I'm on Xbox?
Oh god, Skyrim.
Yeah, fucking Skyrim. Skyrim.
I was gonna save this for later, but here we go.
My life, dude. That game, like, I have 117 hours invested in that game.
Like, once again, my other friend, the same guy who's sometimes psychotic with murdering everybody, which part of it I love about him, but I was like, oh wait, you gotta try to save these people. Like, no, murder them. He logged like 200 something hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he had time off from work because he had like a back injury. And it's like time to Skyrim it.
It's fantastic, dude. It literally.
It looks great. I saw him play it.
Yeah, it's like it literally takes you to like another world, and it's like it's not just escapism. Like for
another world.
For me, a part of it is like I love stories. Yeah. Like you can't throw enough at me for me to like comprehend or learn or teach me. Like I just love to learn anything or have something, thrown at me that I think might sound cool, or like a cool tale, or folklore, or mythos, all that stuff. I love it. So it's
other
adjectives
random,
can I throw?
Other synonyms for story. Adventureland.
Yeah, but like, Skyrim's awesome because it takes you and you create a character, you make them look however you want to look, and thrust you into this world, and like you literally can do whatever the fuck you want. And it's great because it's like I'm at the point now where I'm essentially just a god. Like I've just
you can like ascend to godhood.
Well,
not
really, but like you become so powerful. Like I went into magic because I love wizardry, but like
wizardry is always cool in my book.
Like it's great because like I made it a point to save the game at one point and just start annihilating things in the town just to see what would happen, and I just blew up a whole town and nothing could touch me. I'm just sitting there laughing while fucking people are trying to stop me but can't. And it's
you're a
cool.
sick man.
Well, but at the same time, then you reload it and your conscience kicks in and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So
I can't. I have survivor's guilt, and that's the worst game to play is Dead Rising. Because it's just like the zombie, you gotta save people, and if you don't save them, they could easily die.
Well, yeah, the thing about that game too is that you can't save everybody.
Yes,
like
it's
especially
so
the first one.
Frustrating.
I would
the second
try
one's
over and
even
over.
worse.
Is it?
Yeah.
I tried over and over again to like save people constantly. Like, all right, I'm gonna fucking do it this time, and it's like, you can't. You just can't. And like you look it up online, and it's like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
I was like,
the opening is just an orgy of death.
Yeah,
like
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you have to get out of there, and you can try, and in one case. The AI is so much better in the second game for the survivors, which is awesome because now you have like a cadre of people just like beating the shit out of zombies with like golf clubs.
That's cool.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one is you could probably attest. Like you have to pretty much almost like Milhouse in the episode of The Simpsons when it's Lord of the Rings when he keeps falling when the group is after Milhouse because he ate all their food.
I don't think I saw that.
Right. Bing Cage. Hey. Cage.
I think you should just keep all this in.
It will be. All this will be in. It's just like this is the difference in the podcast. It's like me at my work, and then just like, I gotta take up an order. I'm like a short order cook.
That's awesome.
And I'm just in between, just like, hey, asking people I'm waiting on, just like, what do you think of this? I just want to eat a pie. No, but oh god, what was it? Just trying to get to just anyone, and survivors won't. Or like Milhouse. Like, you guys go ahead and carry me with you because he falls behind and you're thinking, he wants them to go and he'll leave them behind.
Are we talking
Bart and Lisa? Yeah.
Post season 11?
No, actually I think it was like season 9 or 10.
No, really?
Yeah, it was one of the good ones.
I saw that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of look it up. I forget which episode it was, but we're also early Simpsons guys from like season 4 or 3 to like 10.
We've only thrown a couple out there so far.
Well, let's get back to those Skyrim video games. Obviously, invoke a lot of feelings in us, and
it's cool because it's like you can like anything that you can play however you want, and it's like you can literally. You can interact with everything, and like you sit at like the edge of a lake, and you just look on for miles, and like there's like mountains in the back, and there's bugs flying, and it's like you look down at the water, and like the edge of the water is murky, like it is in real life. It's just like
beautiful.
It's like it's a game that like in depth, like it just shouldn't exist. It's insane that something like that exists.
Well,
and, like you can play it, and like any decision you make, like affects change throughout the whole world. Like,
that's pretty great.
It's ridiculous. Like I can't
An
even
algorithm
comprehend.
from hell.
Yeah, that's a lot of ones and zeros that I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah, well, you know who would disagree with all of our thoughts on this? Roger
Jesus.
Ebert. Oh, who were you gonna say?
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah, my actually next door neighbor, Jesus DeWarren. He's not really. He's kind of a purist. He doesn't care for all these. He hasn't gone past 8-bit. We weren't meant to control more than 8 bits.
That's another thing too with video games these days. Is like all the younger kids that are like pseudo retro, like.
Whoa, I have not
that?
even. No.
Maybe it's me digging into things a little too much. Like I get angry for fucking no reason a lot. But yeah, it seems to be like a pseudo retro thing with like kids that are like 19 or 20 and like.
Well, I mean, they're 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, it's like I grew up playing that. It's like no, you didn't. You grew up fucking playing like PlayStation,
GoldenEye, which isn't bad. No, but I mean, yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think. The weird thing about, say, if they're 19, so there was it 1992 or something?
Yeah, around there, I think.
Yeah, so that's like, those were the latter Marios came out. Like Mario 3, I think, came out 92, 94.
Mario 3, I think it was like 1989 or 1990.
No, Mario 3, maybe it was 92 or 91.
When did The Wizard come out? Because that's a surefire way to...
Oh, like, I think that's 90, but it came out before the game came out.
Okay.
Yeah, so but they knew, the obvious... remark about it is like they knew where all the whistles were, and that's the thing. That's a cliche. It's sad when we can be like, oh, that's a cliche for that, because we're involved in such a storied community of.
Well, that's what's weird about it.
Of intellectual.
Like, it makes me feel old sometimes, but it's like I think.
Oh, we are.
Like,
we're 20. You're 32.
31.
31.
32. I say, fuck, I'm old. But like,
but it's a new 20. And that's when I take a gun to my mouth.
Stop trying to be hip.
Age is fine. Yeah. It's like you grow up. It's okay.
Nah, it's all right. Just fucking let it happen. But like, we grew up in like an interesting time. Like, how old are you again?
I am 29. I just turned 29.
Right, so I don't have too many years on you, but like, we grew up at like an interesting age. It's like we grew up like raised with like the moral. We were fed like moral fiber. No, I just think this is interesting.
No, I staunchly disagree with anyone who comes up like back in my because that's what the Nazis did. Well, that's really what like it's a dualistic kind of like in my day Negroes didn't. I mean, I know that's not what you're saying. It's not. No, it isn't. Well, moral fiber like stuff like.
No, but like...
All right, go ahead. I'll let you. I'm sorry.
Can I make my point before you...
No, fuck you. I'm going to tear you down.
Yeah. Hale over here.
As I'm the fascist taking you down.
But no, it's like at the time we grew up in, it was like you were raised to be like polite and, you know, you like a lot of...
my preemptive...
You still had a lot of the older guidelines that you were taught to follow by your parents who, you know, were taught from their parents and so forth. You know, it's like it was kind of an older mentality, but at the same time, we grew up on the cusp of technology as technology was coming into its own. So it's like we've got to see the rise of like technology and I don't want to say dogs barking, but
which has progressed far beyond what we could be used to.
Clearly is just consistent. No, but it's like interesting because we grew up, I don't know, I was taught like the basic... You know, my basics, you know, be polite, hold doors open for people, stuff like that. But I also grew up with technology as it was coming into its own.
Know when to drug someone.
Absolutely. You know when to hold them, when to fold them, that old gag. But it's watching technology evolve, like, as it came into its own. So it's like, you know, I've always been on top of technology as it's happening. Yeah. And, like, now it's like I've noticed with, like, the newer, younger generation, it's like a weirder kind of, like, the technology's there, but it's so, like abrasive and like they're just like not they lack the common courtesy that I seem to remember growing up on because like it's just like a very self-centered like selfish me sort of whiny mentality I've noticed.
I think there are degrees of it if we're taking a whole bunch from Louis C.K., which we clearly are.
Are we?
Yeah, kind of. He has that same kind of bit about like this technology is wasted on the young.
I wasn't even going on that.
No, I think you're
fucking genius, by the way.
I love him. Yeah. I think it sucks when you're that guy. Like, yeah, I knew him back when he was like an irreverent, kooky, goofy comedian.
We've known him for years.
But no, he still was awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to see him succeed in such a grand level.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think you're creating a broad stroke. I understand where you're going, and I do stand by my preemptive kind of like
that. I am a Nazi.
Well, no, it's just like no, it's the dualistic nature. It's us and them, and it's just like it's a matter of, and that's kind of more Douglas Rushkoff taking, but it's just kind of like. No, not and I will shoot down this idea. Obviously everyone's free to have their opinion, but I disagree. I think that even when we were growing up, there were a bunch of shitheads and assholes who were not polite and weren't taught correctly. And that's a level that is with any generation. You can make any argument that maybe certain mores or certain social norms aren't as inflicted upon everyone as much as they have been, and
I just think like that everything's so much more easy now. Like the fact.
Like from our vantage point, yes.
Everybody's so
but the generation before that could make the same argument.
Oh, absolutely, they absolutely can. But at the same time, like
it's all about utilization.
I still feel okay knowing that I'm a polite person who's more. Like
You're
I have
better
more
than
patience.
Everybody.
I don't want to say I have more patience. I'm a fucking intolerant prick.
Some people, my wife isn't as patient. Like, and patience sometimes it's just something that it's like any sort of like soul like building experience, whatever you believe in. It just kind of you just build it, and you want to discard it, and this is also a broad stroke too. So I should lash myself for this, but no, but I see what you're saying. I think that's part of, and more like the '80s cartoon back in the day, like that mentality of like. They had they did have great painted backgrounds. There were elements of this stuff.
I miss culture. I think I miss like a culture now.
That's weird. I don't know what to do with that statement. I don't know what the hell that means. Well, like define your terms, my friend.
I just like. I guess I shouldn't say that too, because that is like kind of a broad generalization. Because there are some fantastic artists out there, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm always online, like trying to. I'm always when I'm making art or something like that. You're online. There's websites dedicated to that sort of thing. So you're subjected to a lot of art. And, like, what I see with art nowadays is, like, it's become, like, hip to make art that's based on pop culture. And it's, like... So it's, like, you're making something that isn't even your own. And for some reason, like, you receive crazy accolades for it. And I just don't... It kind of irritates me because it's, like, almost like I miss originality. Like, you can make the argument that, you can only go so far before... things, you're kind of rehashing things. Like, I even said I accidentally made a Louis C.K. reference without even really thinking about it. But
well, I mean, it's not necessarily a reference to the same vein. I guess is what my argument is. It's the same kind of. It's a very similar argument.
Yeah.
But not to take away from the argument per se, but it's just kind of. Oh, go ahead. I mean,
no, that's okay. It's just like you see so many. Everything's just kind of. It's like kind of like a art or. Celebrity or any of that sort of thing in general seems to be kind of like it seems to be so vain and like just so hollow. There's like not.
What do you mean Hollywood is vain and hollow? What planet do you come from? Like what?
I just miss having like.
Where have I been?
I just miss having like heroes. Like it sounds kind of stupid. This is gonna be the stupidest. This is gonna be the stupidest. No, but I mean this is reference to my argument is like even like wrestling. You look at wrestling. I know. It's the dumbest possible argument. This
actually will fulfill the requirement for my argument that I will use, not to counter, just to...
Okay, fair enough.
But it'll make sense. So
I miss like having like originality and like heroes and personality. It's like you look at like wrestling from back in the day, and it was the coolest, most ridiculous thing.
Well,
like
also, how old were you?
Well, dude, even when you look at it now, it's still cool. Like you're like
what?
Hulk Hogan.
No, is that
like,
serious?
Dude, you tell me you can't appreciate the Ultimate Warrior coming out and shaking ropes and screaming and being ridiculous. That's awesome.
If you saw that now,
I still think it's awesome.
The magic.
It's still it's so real to me.
No, the attached. Video. I think legit. It's the attached magic. I think that's part of like how we are and how people are in general.
Well, that's not true because I am very open to anything new that is interesting.
Sure.
If something catches my interest that I think is legitimately awesome and has like a soul behind it, then I am fucking all for it. But everything now seems like so. It's just like a cookie cutter, like sort of. Like we have numbers behind this, and this is gonna make money. This is what's cool. This is but it doesn't have like any real substance to it. Like
I think there are degrees.
There's no personality.
I think there's some like products or some whatever. I mean, we're not really being specific, but if there's some like whatever artistic renditions that are popular or just like there's a whole bunch of ways we could go with this. But I think the underlining thing, and I think it is kind of a heroes thing because we're in this kind of. Oh, this is going to be like pseudo new age crap, but reality tunnel kind of thing, like or tunnel vision, like what's his name? Who wrote the Illuminati? Robert. Oh, I can't think of his name. I have the interweb in front of me, but will I go to it? No, it will stop recording. The fellow who wrote the Illuminati. He and his like kind of pseudo. Intellectual stuff. He was pretty fun. I forget. I'm gonna say Robert Evans, but it's not at all. That's the producer of like The Godfather and the crazy producer. Who actually is kind of a hero of mine because he's such a fucking. There's like a level of dirtbagginess that's just kind of like. Mwah. the kiss of like respect. But no, I think there is like a level of magic. It's just like what we see. Like, yeah, when I was a kid, I loved certain cartoons and certain things were done a certain way, and they retain a certain like emotional or nostalgia. Psychological tag or spell. And I think some like heroes, because we're also bred to kind of look up to things as a child, and now we have to kind of mold stuff for our own. We have to do a lot of work. We have to go out there and not just look in crazy artistic communities. You have to get out and meet people and do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like you have to either do it, or like people who are doing these stuff might be kids or might be college kids or do. I do agree with you. I think there's more an emphasis sometimes on just rehashing. Like, I think some fan art is awesome, and I think it's great. Like you can do stuff with the fan art that you remix it. Like, I think mashups are like some of the internet's best thing. Yeah. Or even just like sites like Reddit and Imager, like taking pictures and just creating your own. Some of it I think is deadly because it creates a slothful kind of existence of not going out there and taking the pictures. Yeah. It's like the massive, the most overused found art project in the world is the internet sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. But I do agree on levels of that you know, you gotta fuck it, man. Just go out there, take that hit. Like smoke that rock. Like, smoke that rock.
Yeah, you get like the older you get, it's like
don't smoke crack, but not without your friendly hobo buddy.
But it's like you said, you got to kind of go out there and do it yourself. Like, it gets to the point where it's like you just kind of. Getting older is weirder. Like, the older I get, like
it's turned into that. This podcast.
I guess so. Yeah, well, we're gonna get all pseudo intellectual, I guess.
Well, no, we're talking about feelings. God damn it! And you can't put a price or an intellectual tag on feelings.
You can though.
Oh, you can.
I'll be the first one to argue that. But it's just like, you know, the older I get, like the more, just the more. I don't want to say I hate stuff, but the more I see like how things could be better. I guess, you know, it's like, but who the fuck am I?
That's a subjective, but I understand.
So you just kind of got to go out and do the things that you want to do. And it's cool because once you get to like the point where you get confident enough in yourself to realize that no one's stopping you from doing this, the sky's really the limit. Yeah. And, you know, the past couple of years have been great because, you know, it's like I went out on business of my own, and it's like you're doing your own thing, and we're making movies, and we're fucking, you know, we're doing all sorts of fun projects.
Video
and stuff.
films.
It's been really cool. It's been a fun couple of years. But, you know, it's like it's also tough because like it's like you have to. I like the challenge of it. Is like you're constantly striving to be original and creative. And
are you done blowing yourself?
I didn't.
Go ahead.
Just fucking.
I'm playing backgammon in the background. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
I just think there's like there's like so many more opportunities to go out and actually do something creative and original than. You know, just there's so much like pop culture garbage that I just can't stand.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's ridiculous.
I agree. You have to get out of it. It's just like it's that one snap, that one word or that one color that'll just be like, ooh, you'll shake yourself like, oh, all right, where was that? Okay, all right, now I know. Yeah. Like it just. I mean, it's the kind of symbolism of drugs or anything else. It's just like you alter your brain chemistry a little bit. But also, I mean, it's just like we live highly visualized culture. And bicameral mind, as they call it, just like we have to take like the recesses of our brain, just kind of lend back to the pictorial storytelling, which is pretty cool. I mean, there are ways you can. There are a whole bunch of things about that are awesome and are advantageous, but also you have to remember because technically, like symbol or letters are symbols and they're pictograph. I mean, it's basically but just on a smaller and more almost algorithm-y without the actual numbers, but it's like it's its own secret code and basic code to understanding and seeing pictures. But that I guess what I'm getting at is the whole you have to kind of build it yourself. You know, you have to go for was it the whose fire? Oh God, I'm horrible with these references. No, St. Elmo's Fire with a wailing saxophone solo in it. But no, Prometheus? No, the fire of Prometheus. What did he put the hand in the fire?
Yeah, Prometheus. He stole the fire.
Yeah, I just like to become a god. You have to be, and that's the other guy who wrote the Illuminati, Robert. Oh my God, I want to say Robert Evans, but it's not him. Oh my God, I don't know why I'm stuck on Robert Evans. No, it's Robert. He died like 4 or 5 years ago. wrote the Illuminati did is pretty interesting. Look it up. I'm sorry, I can't come up with it now. But he wrote a book on Prometheus Fire, pretty much like stealing, becoming that god. Like you're saying, you have to become that god. Yeah. And a lot of people are doing it on a fringe. It's tough to be on the fringe when the fringe can be marketable within 15 minutes. And that's what people are sniping.
But I think it's like the more like it's not necessarily about what's marketable. It's about finding what's important to you, and then like
I'm
people kind of just gravitate towards that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's what you should look for. I'm saying it's tough to keep being on the fringe of something.
Right.
And keep trying to expand what we say is being original and entertaining. Yeah. Whereas Warren Herzog would talk about we need a new image, you know. And I agree. We need Les Claypool from Primus. We need new pornos. And he said it back in '92. So I mean, like, which we got the voyeur. We got the gonzo porn, which won't die, which was fun, but then kind of went crazy. I went through the online revolution of pornography.
Online porn was the best thing.
From my college to high school, end of high school, it was more college. Because I was still in high school when you had to go in a chat room to get a pic from somebody. Yeah. But, oh, by the way, and if you hear any noises of banging, we have dinosaurs living above us or some sort of cave women. Or
someone threw a candy bar on the floor and there's a couple of Down syndrome children.
Yeah, who just, you can't get enough of it. Floor candy is what they call it. But yeah, getting back, I agree and I do, but I think being kind of coming from the angle of like, this stuff sucks, that's great, that's fine, that's great, like identify a problem which you have with something, but I think the more important thing is like, okay, so what? So like some of this shit is horrible, well, what are you doing?
Well,
like,
that's exactly the tough part. And like the thing that like gets me the most is like how many people gravitate towards the stuff that sucks. That's the scary part.
Some of it's really easy though, and we fall victim to a lot of easy stuff. I mean, comic books can be easy and also fun and inventive, but they also open the door to other things that we can look for ourselves. Like they can be culturally. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like a cultural door or like a cultural drug. That just kind of like once you like kind of be, oh shit, what's that?
I think it's positive. I don't think it's a negative.
I think there are negative and positives to it.
Well, there's negatives because on one hand it can make you a social outcast because you get so into your little world. But at the same time, it's the delving into that world that like is so fascinating in the first place. It's like you have these stories, these like fascinating stories of these.
You love the word story.
I do. I love it. It's just like it's anything that's, you know, I just love learning something new, and it's cool. Like you get. And you get like all these powerful people, and you know the problems that come with it, and it just
and the friendships.
And the friendships and the joys, the ups and downs. I'm a sucker for a good story. That's all. It's like a lot of the stuff.
I'm a sucker for a good story.
Anything that's so like that's cool nowadays is fucking. It just seems so ridiculous to me. Well, I can't. Yeah, but I mean, a generalization.
No, it is. But also like define your terms. Like, what does cool mean? And like, you mean something that may be popular.
Let's throw my calendar out there.
Yeah,
I made a calendar. For those of you who haven't heard this incessantly already, I made a calendar. I do photography for a living. It's one of the things I do. But I decided to take a photo calendar of just 12 months of things that I think suck with, you know, pop culture these days. And like one of them was like the Jersey Shore thing. And it was like I took a photo in a laundromat of a girl spray tanning abs on me, and it's just I don't understand like why so many people gravitate towards the actual show. Like it just makes no sense. It's like if you put it on, if that's on for like 5 minutes, my head explodes.
Well, I can understand why people want. I mean, there's a difference between understanding and agreeing with the process of watching or being involved. Would you I guess kind of so, but concede to that, or
is it almost to like is it almost like a voyeur kind of thing? Like you want to watch these idiot people because you're exactly what it is. Of their lives?
I don't necessarily think they're. I mean, I think there might. I mean, once again, broad strokes. I mean, there could be people that are envious of them and who kind of relate. But I also think a lot more of the viewership might tend to be like, look at these fucking idiots.
But at the same time...
But that feeds the beast.
Yeah, and you've got people who are like, who emulate them in real life.
Oh, I think...
That became like a huge thing.
It's just like stereotypes. Like stereotypes had started somewhere. Whether stereotypes aren't true to form for everything and everyone. There are aspects of it where it's just kind of like, oh, that's where that douche came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Per your calendar.
It's just kind of I don't want to say disheartening because there's a lot of good out there. There is a lot of good. There's a lot of original stuff, you know, happening.
Oh, now you're turning your tide. I see.
Well, you know, I'm trying. You know, I don't want to say like I don't want to be the fucking negative Nilly saying everything.
No, you can't.
Sucks.
You can. I mean, my job as another person, as a human being, is to take your terms and try to transmute them into something I can understand.
Oh,
and I don't mean that like as like, not to say we're all talking jarbled mess, but I mean like, my argument to everyone, we speak a common language, which in itself is bizarre and a miracle in many cases. That language is something we can, and some would say, bullshit, it's basic like human evolution.
Yeah.
Like, don't get too crazy over it. But I mean, no, I mean, if you think about it from a historical perspective of our existence, our hundreds of thousands of years, or just like any organism.
So the Earth is 500 years old.
Yeah, the tide goes in, tide goes out, which is one of my favorite like weird like someone would say to me like, it's just so bizarre. Like, how can anyone on network television like be like? I guess that's another a weird argument. It's like, yeah, just these idiots just doing whatever. And people just believe, which is fine. You can believe. But I want you to come to a conclusion of critical thinking to come to that point. If you believe it, then we know your true idiocy. At least not the superficial idiocy. You know what I mean? I like to think I'm an idiot, but I tried hard to be that idiot. And I just got to that point over time.
I like to come to the conclusion that I never come to a conclusion. That's the thing. Is like I like to look at things from both sides. You're ditching. You're dodging. I'll be the first one to say no. It's not dodging because I'll be the first one to, argue my point and the first one to concede to yours. Like if you make a good point, it's like, all right, I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I'll be the first one to ejaculate. I'm not gonna lie. Ookie cookie was never my game because no one wins.
Well,
yeah, I get it. All depends if you like cum so cookies. Cookie wins. Soggy biscuit too. Sorry for the Southerners. Or
proper nomenclature.
Proper nomenclature for soggy biscuit. Well, I'm glad we diffused that with soggy biscuit, but no.
Porn.
Yeah. Well, no. I guess my job is to like dig. Like, okay, you say this, but what does that really mean? What does that mean? Huh. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I was talking to my aunt and uncle, both in the Worcester area. They're professors at their respected colleges. I don't want to get them in trouble for being associated with me, but. One of the things, we talk about, and I love talking about with them and other people, just like, and my other good friend Josh, not the Josh but another Josh I know I went to school with, and we'll be talking about these various people who no one will give a shit about. Be like, oh, that guy, Josh from the podcast, but no, it's like define your terms, and it's true. Especially with buzzwords, and that's what I was talking about with my aunt and uncle, just like things like the ozone layer or things like. Conservative or liberal, like these words are meaningless, and through Orwell and other people, all types, you have to dissect and actually talk to people, and actually like you and I sitting down and talking. That's another WTF, the podcast, What the Fuck with Mark Maron again. He makes a lot of great points, and they just have a lot of fun talking with comedians and other people in the industry because he's a comedian himself and he's been around forever and he knows most of these people he talks with, and it's just kind of like you have. Sitting down, and he mentions like just weirdly sitting down and talking with someone for an hour, like you actually like you're gaining so much like weird, like whether the podcast seems like a face or not, it's like we're getting like a legit conversation out of it.
No, it's absolutely, it's a beautiful thing about like the internet. The internet's been one of the greatest. I think it's one of the greatest things ever that we know of so far in recorded history that's been achieved.
It's pretty amazing.
You have infinite access to. Anything you want to know. Anything you want to know, you can know. And it just seems like it's just like gets wasted so much on posting pictures of F my FML.
Fuck my life.
Oh, they got my coffee wrong at Dunkin' Donuts. FML. Oh.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, like, not to... I'll disenfranchise them another way. It's just not to fuck them. Like, we don't have to deal with that. We do have to deal with that because you have a lot of friends, a lot of people you sort through, and that's all the social media aspect of it. But yeah, people will use it for whatever. And just kind of like
I would just like to.
You got to push ahead.
I know you got to forge ahead, but like that's.
I'm like.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to. Like I said, like I'm not trying to make any sort of point. I'm just. It's just. I wouldn't. I tend to observe.
But that is the point. Don't sell yourself short or try to escape.
I'm not trying to escape.
There's a degree of whether you mean it or not.
No, I will absolutely. I see. That's the thing is like a lot of people
escape a point. No, I'm not
trying to escape a point at all.
You might not consciously. But there is there.
No, because this is one of the things I like about observing is like you observe and then you observe that counterpoint. If a counterpoint comes up, is like I like to see any side of an angle because like if you
good argument usually consists of people both sides knowing it's a good like back and forth. They usually what's the word like debating. Like in debating, the first thing you're taught is, and this goes the same with like define your terms, and this kind of common ground we're seeing with. just define what you're doing and what we're talking about, knowing the other person's side almost as intimately as they know it.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to go back and forth. Like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just like I tend to like to observe things, and then if I make a statement and then someone comes back with a rebuttal that isn't overly positive or argumentative, then and they have a good valid point to counter mine, I'll concede to that. But at the same time, I might have something else to throw at that as well. And it's it doesn't necessarily have to go anywhere. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does go. I mean, everything goes somewhere. But I mean, it's not like. It's not like. From what I hear, what you say, it seems like it's just people do. There is polarizing things that happen when people make a point or a stand on something.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to stand like rock hard for something. I'm sorry for that boner reference, but
I'm not.
I'm not. It's apropos.
But
there's an end to that. I swear.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, but just you don't have to stand. Just pretty much, it's like kind of rock steady on that. You can be malleable to it as you are. Just your points will change, but you have a basic general kind of idea of where you are and what you're talking about and what we're kind of bringing in, what we're discussing. I think that's important. I think not to run away from it. I know what you're saying, and you're inviting conversations. You don't want to eliminate conversation.
Right. I think that's the best part of it. Is once you established, I'm more interested in the conversation and what comes from the conversation, not necessarily the point. It's the
journey.
It's the in between. Like that's what interests me because the final point, regardless, is not necessarily 100% infallible.
Yeah, it can always change.
It can always change. And I think you have to be receptive to the notion that you don't 100% know what the fuck you're talking about. You can to a certain extent, but. If you take a staunch position on something, just like this is it, and this is how this is, and that's it for you. That's it. Once you establish that sort of rock hard fucking again.
Nice.
Yeah. Once you establish
that morning wood position.
That position, you automatically exclude yourself from evolving your conversation. I hate to get into use politics as an example, but when people fucking are just aggressively. Trying to force politics down your throat, and it's like this is this and this is this and this is this. It's like Republican Democrat. It's like why the fuck are you gonna pick either one of them? It's like why does it have to be one or the other? And the fact that you will blindly leap into something because you claim to be I'm a Republican, I'm gonna vote for this guy. It's like he could be the craziest asshole in the world, but you're gonna vote on him just because you feel it's that's where you stand and that's what you have to do. It's like you're leaving no in between for fact finding or changing your position. It's like it's that's it. That's it for you, and that's where you stand. You don't leave yourself open to an argument or to to maybe learn something new that you didn't know before because that's it for you. And I think that's a dangerous way to live, especially in the age we live.
Dangerous and sexy.
Yes,
yes, we may.
But with the internet, like I said, you can learn anything you want, and it's a fascinating tool. It's amazing. I don't know how to fix a fucking old car. I'm gonna look it up online and find videos on how to fix an old car.
Yeah, fix your own. That's great. Tutorials, man. I mean, it's great. People communicating, like you said, anything you want to know, and that's I guess back to just the vague politics thing because we can have Kobe in one episode and we just rant about it.
We got to save ourselves for that.
Yeah,
that's gonna be intense.
And we'll later name this podcast Vagary. I mean, we are talking a bunch of broad strokes, but I mean, is the general tone of where we are and what we think. I mean, politics has been bred because that's what politics, that's what it does. It's kind of, it has to, make your decision. And the actual politics beyond that get kind of fuzzy as far as, they get kind of, you have to pay attention. So, I mean, it's just kind of the show, and then you have to go and actually see what the show is.
Yeah, and then
see how they kill the meat,
It's the idea that it's you're just kind of you're putting all of your trust into this one person who's going to save the world. It's going to liberate the planet.
Well, yeah.
It's that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's all hyperbole, It's all it's just back to the whole,
it's like the world's
define your
popularity
terms.
contest.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of, define your terms and just make us know what the hell you actually mean, what the hell you actually stand for.
But
and
it's the notion, like in this day and age.
But that can be dangerous too, because then you give a definitive, like
absolutely.
you were talking about, yeah.
In this day and age, the notion of using, like, putting this person as your figurehead to speak for hundreds of millions of people. I don't want anybody speaking for me. What the fuck do you know about what I think, or what I might think is a better way to do something? I'm gonna just.
And you can't. It's tough, though. I mean,
give someone infinite power to just do whatever they want, and just.
You just want the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, dude, I would love the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It would be amazing. I would totally. That'd be a better Thanos.
That'd be a cooler, calmer, collective Thanos.
Yeah, he's too crazy.
Vote for me. Yeah, I mean, all right. So, I guess one of the things well, good. I'm glad we got that finally out of the way, because we were talking about that just by the Christmas tree, sipping eggnog, thinking, oh, and Merry Christmas to and Happy Holidays to everyone who had the holiday weekend this past weekend. And we're doing this on December 28th, so who knows when this will come out, but I'm
looking forward to doing more of these. I mean, we got a good number of friends who are just, smart, creative, open-minded people, and we could have a lot of good discussions.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of mudslinging, going to be a lot of mud wrestling. It's a mud theme week here at the podcast. But no, that's the general aspect of this show, is just kind of have a conversation and just try to talk and try to figure out who we are as human beings.
Oh. It's got to.
Yeah.
We're evolving.
Or we're just big old vaginas. For now. Actually, it would be fun. I try to, whenever, obviously, Idiocracy kind of invoke that a little bit.
Oh god, I fucking love that.
When it's just kind of like, whenever Luke Wilson's character tries to like open up not his heart, but just be like, hey, listen to me, guys. It's like, stop talking like such a fag, and everything. And it gets that the discourse is remarked as like, I like you, but I don't like when you get all faggy about stuff.
Your shit's all retarded and you talk like a fag.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's It just gets down to like, well, what can I actually talk to someone like? Violence is one thing, sure, and violence can solve things, but is the ultimate?
It doesn't solve things. It's a finite. I agree. It's definitely a conclusion.
Well, you remember comitatus, like blood for blood.
Yep.
And just kind of that's how they did. Like, you killed my dad, now I got to kill you, and then just like someone has a list of like, oh, so I got to kill him now, and just like he has like a check off a bingo of murder. But no, it's kind of, I don't know, man. It's talking to someone, just try to get something out, and sometimes you talk to someone, you realize how much you don't like them, and you know how to step away, which is good though.
Which explains why you've been giving me this horrible look this whole time.
Well, it's just been. I'd like to think it's more of a bland look, so you wouldn't be able to take anything from it. Because I don't want to give you squat. I guess one of the last things we'll get to. Let's just round it out with kind of conversation on what you're thinking. Comic books, because we're both nerds, and obviously we talk about video games, movies, and we talked about world peace. And just what we think.
Large gamut of things.
The good old days, which is another, and I do think, but those are the dangers, I think, of talking about people were more polite back in our day. I think more or less people were.
Be careful.
I know what you mean as far as like some people are raised to open doors. Some people, I mean, I kind of was, but then again, our good friend Adam. One of the douchey things he ever said to me in Fitchburg, I went to this Fitchburg State College, another institution that doesn't want anything to do with this podcast, and couldn't maybe explain my kind of tangential nature and or drug-induced rants and or salty language.
Come back to us, man. Come on.
Yeah, come back. Hey, just just a stick of butter waving in front of my face. Le beurre. But he said to me one time, and this is all about assumptions, and it's also a religious thing too. I remember in his presence, I opened the door for someone just coming one way, ejaculating outside of a door. I'm sorry. No, just coming from stepping outside from one building. I was holding the door for somebody, and he said, "Oh, you're polite because you went to Catholic school." And I was like, he's like, of course, you went to Catholic school, or something of that vein. And I was like, buddy, you do realize what a Catholic is, right? Part of my thing was like, well, no, I just like, that's kind of who I am.
It's polite.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not, there's a level, yes, I can understand, like, there's a certain teaching that people will instill, or certain institutions will instill. Doesn't mean it'll happen.
I think courtesy is a good way of just showing somebody that you're not threatening to them. Because we're fucking animals.
Oh, no, that's a good point.
We're animals.
Yeah,
if someone's fucking giving me a tough eye, it's going to be... It's going to get a tough eye back.
And a lot of people like to deny that we are animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just a different variation of. I mean, animals are in different spectrums, just like any other organism. And like from a scientific standpoint, or just from a base like understanding. Yeah, we're animals. It's not a bad like animal has a negative connotation. I mean, but we're very. Another great movie, Project Nim. About a documentary about raising a chimpanzee and trying to see if it communicates. It can, or it can. It's very vague, kind of what they're like. Oh, we want to know if it can communicate, but communication means so fucking much.
Yeah.
Once again, it's like define your terms. That'll be my fucking buzz term.
Define your terms.
Which I will never define.
You're gonna put it on a coffee mug so you can sip it casually.
Yeah, just put it down. Yeah, listening. And the irony was, I'll never define that. But you know, it's about like the hedonistic, and there's one line where one of the guys talks about, you know, chimps are very close to humans with their hedonistic, and we are animals as well, and we have a lot of hedonistic tendencies, and whether you believe, and that's a whole other thing, whether you believe organized, communal kind of structures keep us in line, or we've just evolved from that, and you can make it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a whole mindfuck of a tornado of bullshit, but. Yeah, just the whole thing, like, no, like, the institution can help. I mean, just, but you have to make that decision.
Yeah. And
it's part of, like, the courtesy of, and it's a great way of putting it, actually, like, to be non-threatening, and just to be like, it's okay, because you don't know how that
showing
person's
a sign
been.
of civility.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is, you know, it's like, I try to make it a point to, you know, I've been told, it's funny, it's like, this is coming from someone who's been told 1,000 times that they have a threatening look about them or
you
a
do,
demeanor.
but I think you pride yourself on a little bit of that, and
Well,
there's a twinkle in your...
But at the same time, it's like, I make it a point
You're like
to
a faux badass, as they would say.
make it a point to go out of my way to, like, be respectful and courteous to people, because at the same time, I'm a fucking civil human being. And, you know, you don't want to... You know, why do you gotta go out of your way to look for problems? There's enough problems as it is, and it's like, you know, you gotta extend yourself as a courteous.
I'm itching for a battle.
Yeah. I just feel like a lot of people are, and they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just everyone seems very aggressive.
Well, some people just have that chip on their shoulder. Some people just, I mean, that's part of their jolly. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. And sorry for using the term jolly, but just, you know, how I am, how I was raised.
There's so many of us, too. That's the crazy thing. Is like, you think about how many of us, and like, there's so many
billions of people? Or just like...
so many conflicting personalities and, like, viewpoints. It's just...
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. Is like, you be courteous.
It's amazing.
And you try
it's amazing people, like another Louis C.K. bit, which I'm kind of angry about, because we're very similar in mindset. I was going to do a bit like... Well, I always talk to my friends, and I had one high school stand-up bit about, like... it's just like not murdering everybody, or just not murdering each other. It's just like, how do we live in an open society?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting point. It's a good point, just kind of like, and it's very pertinent to today's argument of like terrorism and fighting, and just like trusting one another and trying not to. That brown skinned fella is a little more, is different, and profiling some would argue works on some levels. But I mean, also,
is that evolution though? Is that the evolution of us becoming more like, as you become, I don't want to say intellectual, because that's
or just more aware, you could say, or more conscious.
Yeah, that sounds better. More conscious. There you go. As you become more evolved and conscious of these things, you know, happening around you, like, does that automatically put you on a different level than those that are just sort of milling about, vacant-eyed, and looking to be?
Well, I think there are degrees of it. I mean, I think you know that answer. I mean, there are like varying degrees of intelligence between numerous people, and you know, not everyone's going to be on that same wavelength. I mean, and when you get on that wavelength, I mean, you go back and forth, and just kind of, I don't know, some people might be milling about, or they'll see it another way, and then they'll see your stuff as milling about in another non-directional fashion. But I mean, it all depends. I mean, what is, and this is a total bullshit conversational slash like, what is happiness, or what is the place? I'm at A, I want to be at B. And everything in between is like subsets of A or B, or like offshoots. And what is B? B is death. And what is death? Is that like what you're going for? Is that what we're looking to grasp, or what is the happiness there? You know, it's just like, you know, that's sometimes those questions are important. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just like a ham bone solo.
Yeah. I've often wondered, like, especially lately, if death is sort of like an option. Like, not necessarily an option, because it's... Well,
Lazarus Pit.
This is going to get into fucking a weird zone of nonsense, of course, but it's all hypothetical. But, like, death...
Oh, it's scientific fact.
Death happens. I mean, the fucking little flesh vessel we run around in, it is, you know, it's not infinite. It's going to break down, and, you know, it's just going to expire. But at the same time, like
I hear you, buddy.
Your consciousness, or like your I don't know, it's like almost your will, and oftentimes will, you know, persevere and keep you going.
Is that just an extension of just our like connectivity to our brain?
Well, who knows though? Maybe,
that's the postulate,
right?
That's
but maybe it's like maybe it's more to that. Maybe it's just like maybe death is like our conscious way of being ready for whatever's next. Like if there is a next.
Well, you know, look up Grant Morrison. He has a lot of interesting stuff on that too. About like the whole bunch of those guys, Terrence McKenna and all those fellas, pseudoscience / just fun to chat about, and just kind of along the same rounds.
It's straight philosophizing because it's not like you can really.
Well, I mean, we don't. It's the easy thing. You don't have an answer. You can't be told no. It's just like, is there a God? Well, you can't definitively say no or yes. And that's the errant of just being like, there's no God or there is a God. I mean, both ways you're fucked because it's not, and that's not the point. The point is just kind of be right on to your fellow man, as those guys would say. Keep on trucking.
That's it. That's what you fucking learned today, people. Don't be cunts.
Yeah, don't. Or if you're going to be a cunt to someone who deserves it for that moment, but then try to show the cunthood or the cuntly person. Their cuntitude is, in fact...
Cuntitude.
Their cuntitude is... where it was cunty and why you think it was cunty, and try to discuss the ups and downs of cuntness.
That's right. So even once cuntitude has been established, try to be civil to said cunt.
Yes. We have cunt in the area, and then just like cunt team A, go.
Good. I feel good wrapping up on the word cunt.
Oh, that's always a good idea.
Let's throw some plugs at it.
No, I mean, we're going to talk comics, but I mean, no, you know, you're good. I think it's a good, we'll end it with cunt. And
let's go to the comic shop then.
Yeah, we'll go to the comic shop and we'll talk later. ComicallySpeaking.com. Check them out on Facebook, Comically Speaking. I run it. I post a lot of weird, stupid, fun, nerd stuff there. And AsylumStudios.biz.
Yep, and I'm basically I run an ad agency. I work with a lot of small businesses and help give your business a new look, and I take photos and basically, you know, anything you need to help make your business run smoothly.
You know, minor softcore pornography.
Absolutely. Yes. Phil helps with that with I Hung Up Productions over here.
Yeah, and my name is JonahFilm.com.
Yes.
Check out the trailer on YouTube, Vimeo, and on the website, mynameisJonahFilm.com. Check out LonelyReviewer.com, run by a friend of mine, Vache Arabian. Check out JB Inks on Vimeo. Yeah, and there'll be a bunch of plugs and a bunch of other things we can. And Horror Movie a Day with Brian Collins.
Yep.
And yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff. We could probably go, but yeah, we'll just end it on that.
Yeah.
I hope you had a cunt-filled afternoon.
Hope your cunt was satisfied.
Hope your cunt was satisfied. Oh, wow. And cunt also, I guess I went in the one, obviously it's an abrasive word. And I only know one woman who isn't bothered by it. One of my best friend's wife. It doesn't cunt, just like non sequitur.
Favorite. It is my favorite adjective. I will use it for anything.
Well, because it sounds like blunt too. I feel like it's just like a vagina rock, like a cunt. Or like it's just a blunt. Or like you can shape your vagina on your cunt, so it's like a folded in kind of...
rudimentary lathe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess that's that. But yeah, stay tuned next time. We'll have a name probably after or while this is on.
We'll establish ourselves a little bit better.
Yeah, and you won't know.
Maybe come back with a guest.
Yeah.
Throw opposing
sock
perspective.
talk. Just put the socks on our microphones because it's the poor man's PFer stopper. But yeah, this has been Phil Healy and
John Kevin. Thanks for checking us out, and fucking A.
Talk to you later.